everyone, it's Jen from Creative Housewives, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make vinyl decals using an Explore Air 2. I have a bunch of different materials here. I have some shimmer vinyl, I have permanent vinyl in a variety of different colors. I have strong grip transfer tape and regular transfer tape, and I'm going to teach you how to make two different decals, both vinyl decals, and how to apply them to notebooks for getting ready to back to school. Well, I guess technically this is a notebook and this one's a folder, but I will show you some tips and a couple of tricks that I have for applying vinyl to a paper type material, like a cardstock thick type material, without tearing it. And then my best practices for applying it to the surface of a notebook. This is kind of like a faux leather notebook. So let's jump into Design Space. I'll show you the projects that we're going to be making, and then we will get crafting. So these are the images that I found in Design Space. These are both included in your Cricut Access subscription. I just searched science and found this fun science nerd one, and then I searched art and found this art class one. I thought they'd both be great for the different projects that I am doing. So they're here on my canvas. I have selected up here that I'm using an Explore machine because I'm using my Explore Air 2 today. And I just was going to show you really quick how I'm going to resize these. So I know my art class sketchbook is just under 6 inches by right about 8 inches. So I'm going to want to make this so that it fits there on the cover. It does have a elastic, like a piece of elastic, so that you can keep the book closed. And that sits at about 5 inches inside. So I'm going to make sure that my image is no wider than that, because I don't want, while I'm using permanent vinyl, I don't want to risk having that elastic going back and forth over it and causing some lifting. So I think at the most, I'm going to want my width to be 4.5 inches. And that will allow me to kind of center it between those. And then that puts my height at 4.77, which is also great because, like I said, my notebook or sketchbook is just right at 8 inches. So I think this is a good overall size for that project. So I have that one sized. Now for the Science Nerd folder that I'm doing, I'm going to do it so that it sits, let me see, I'll show you, so that it sits this way here on the folder. And if you haven't seen yet, did you notice what I just did there for rotating? There's no longer like the lock, resize, rotate, garbage things at the corners. Now all of them, you can resize all from the corner, or if you just jump out a little bit from the corner, you can see that you can adjust it there. So that's the way I'm going to be putting on there. I don't have to have it turned that way on my canvas. That doesn't really matter, so that I can, but I just wanted to show you so you understood sizing wise what I was going for. So my folder is just at 11.5 inches. And then if it was using like the full length, I have about 7.25 inches. So let's go ahead and make this. So height wise, I want to make it like 6.5. And let's see what that does. So that makes it 12.5, which is way too wide. So instead what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just set this width to 10.5. And then that's still a good size, and that'll take up like a nice chunk of room there on the front, which will just make that a fun little, easy to tell what it is for folder. All right, so now all I have to do from here, I don't have to make any other adjustments. I want these to all remain cut files, so I'm gonna go ahead and select Make It. And that is going to bring me to my matte screen. I am going to be using a matte. So we'll go ahead and select on matte, go ahead and click continue. And then you'll see over here, I have just a different matte for every different color material I'm using. So I'm using black for the Science Nerd portion. I am using green for a couple of the spots on the canvas. Actually, let me go back really quick and make sure of something, because I think these two greens are the same, and I don't necessarily want them. I'm using two different colors. So the colors that I'm actually using for the art class, I'm going to go ahead and go in and change those. So I am using, for the actual art class portion, I'm using a cute, it is kind of this color of pinky orange, like a peachy color. And then for this color, I'm actually using like a light turquoisey. So we'll go ahead and just use that light blue so it differentiates. And then I am using a really pale pink instead of a yellow. So it kind of looks weird on here, but I think it'll be cute all put together. And then for this color, for this part here, that's where I'm using the gold shimmer. And then for the Science Nerd one, I am using a green, but it's a darker green. Let's go ahead and change that. I'm using a true yellow, and then I'm using, actually, it's more of a true blue color. So now we've got those changed. It's a good thing I noticed that. Otherwise, it would have cut them out weird, and I would have been like, where's that other piece? Okay, let's go back to on the mat. Let's go ahead and select continue. So now I have my Science Nerd portion. I have my pink color. I have my peachy, orangey color. I have my gold. And then I've got the yellow, the green, the blue, and then the other dots for that other one. So now I have everything set. It's how I need it. Let's go ahead and select continue. And now we're going to connect to my machine. And again, I'm using an Air 2 because I'm cutting vinyl. You could do this project with any Cricut machine because it's just using the fine point blade, and the fine point blade is available for all of the Cricut machines. Now, here is a trick number 1 that I'm going to teach you. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump up here to our black one, our black color. And now I'm going to select Browse All Materials. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do chalkboard. And then I'm going to select, and I'm going to go ahead, we're going to be using this a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to favorites, and I'm going to select that. I wanted to show you that I know with the Air 2, you have the ability to like turn the dial and select your materials. You can have like vinyl, vinyl plus, and it goes all the way around. I really like being able to select specific materials. Now, if you want to be able to do the same thing, all you have to do is turn your dial on your machine to custom, and then it brings up this same box as if you had the Maker or the Explore 3 and the Joy, all of those machines that don't have a dial. You have the ability to access all those materials by having your dial set to custom. So I have learned over the years that the chalkboard vinyl setting works really well with my machines when I'm cutting Cricut vinyl, especially their permanent premium or the premium permanent vinyl. The chalkboard setting works really well in my Explorer Air 2. So that's the setting that I've selected. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over to the machine, and I'll just show you, we'll just get all of these cut. The only place that we're going to be making a change here is with this one layer here, and I will be changing that to shimmer vinyl. Other than that, everything else that I'm cutting is a premium permanent glossy vinyl. So let's jump over there and we will get cutting. All right, I have my black vinyl, permanent premium vinyl loaded here onto my mat. I'm just using a light grip mat. We'll go ahead and select load, and then we'll just go through and we'll get all of our different vinyl materials cut. Okay, for the shimmer vinyl, I changed my material to the premium vinyl shimmer, and I'm using a green mat instead of the blue light grip mat. We have everything cut out. Now we're going to go ahead and go through and weed all of the excess out for all of these different pieces of vinyl. So while I'm weeding this last piece, I wanted to call out that one of the complaints that I hear all the time is that Cricut vinyl is so hard to weed. And I just wanted to show you in real time how this weeding process is going. I really think the most important thing that you can do is to perform a test cut and make sure that the setting that you're using is the best setting for your machine and the material that you're using. I used the chalkboard vinyl setting. This is Cricut Premium Vinyl Permanent. And by using the chalkboard vinyl setting, you can see that I got clean cuts everywhere. I did have in a couple of these places where there's like the straight line. I'm trying to see if I can, I thought there was a spot. So right here, it cut through my liner a little bit. So I could have decreased it. That was just on the regular vinyl, or the regular chalkboard vinyl setting, the default. So if I had done a test cut, which I didn't because this is the setting that I usually use, if I had done a test cut, then I would have bumped it down to less pressure, which is what I did after. So I noticed it on this, and then I cut one other piece and noticed it a little bit. So I did bump it down to less pressure. But you can see like it only did it in like one, there's like a little spot here where I noticed it. And that may be because I, accidentally grabbed the bottom liner when I was weeding also. But you just want to make sure that you're using the best setting, because Cricut has the settings in there, but that doesn't necessarily always mean it is going to be the best setting for your machine. And so back before, because unless they've changed it, their premium vinyl setting is just a premium vinyl setting. It's not set different for the permanent or the permanent or the removable. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, since we're making these vinyl decals, I'm actually going to bump this down a little bit. I'm going to move this up. So these three pieces here are pretty easy. Like I consider them like a sticker. So what I'm going to do, see if we can bump this down just a little bit closer even so that you can see. So what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to pick this up with transfer paper and then lay it on here and blah, 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 I'm just going to treat it like a sticker. So I'm going to take this piece. Oh, see, this one's one where it cut through a little bit too. So I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to roll it a little bit, and then I'm just going to line it up. So on the design, it is a little bit off from, like, it's not right along the edges. So I'm just going to gently set it, see how it looks. You can see it's a little far on that one side, so I can pick it back up still because it's just on this, this carrier sheet. So I'm trying to touch the back as little as possible. But I'm just going to lay these ones down instead of using the transfer tape over and over again, because either I'm going to use one small piece of transfer tape to try to pick all these up, or I'm going to use a big piece of transfer tape to pick up this piece and then try to get these little ones, where this I feel like is just going to work a little bit quicker. So 2 of them on, rub those down really well. And then we have this last little one here. Okay, so now our image is actually done on this one. Like, we don't have to worry about doing anything crazy. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a piece of transfer tape. I'm gonna make sure it's big enough. This is just standard grip transfer tape. You can see it has the gray grid. And now I'm going to just place it here on my, well, first, this is what I'm gonna do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my folder here that I'm going to be applying it to. And I'm just gonna, actually I'm gonna go to the back side. I'm gonna stick this down and I'm just gonna see how it releases from it. So you can see here, like it picked up a little bit. I don't even know if you can see that. You can see it like picked up just a little bit. I don't want that to happen all over. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm wearing a pair of denim shorts. I'm gonna quickly take this and just stick it to my pant leg really quick, all over. And that is gonna help remove some of the stick. It shouldn't, like, it'll still be usable, but it's gonna make it a little bit less sticky so that when I go to stick it on this, it will hopefully not pick up any of those fibers. So now I'm just gonna lay this out on here. Trying not to get any bubbles. This was an older kind of little scrap piece I had left over. So you can see by looking at this little portion here, maybe bump this up a little bit higher, that it's a little like bendy. Okay, so we're gonna just smooth this down really well. Okay, now I'm going to use my extra large scraper tool because this one is a little bit bigger. I'm gonna use my extra large scraper tool and I'm gonna go over it. And just burnish it really well from the top, making sure it's stuck down really well. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over and do it again from the back side. You just want to make sure that it's stuck here on our transfer tape. So now you can see, move this up, make sure you can see. You can see I'm not doing anything crazy and it's sticking down. So I'm gonna just slowly, but it's not sticking there. So what I'm gonna slowly do is I'm going to burnish it a little bit more. And so that's why I like to go slow from a corner, and sometimes you have to work with it to get it to like release there, or start from a different corner and see how it's doing. Okay, this is gonna need a little bit more burnishing. Okay, I think my camera flipped on me, but we have the whole thing weeded now. So now we can apply it here to our folder that we're going to use. So I am just gonna go ahead and eyeball where I want this to go. So the way I like to do it is I've got this, let's see if I slide this under here so you can actually see where the difference is there. So I'm going from here, this top edge here, to this bottom line here, so that when you actually, fold it as a folder and it's full of stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of hold it up here, look around. This top line here actually goes, and actually, one of the things to do to kind of help, I feel like, is to get rid of excess like transfer tape, because sometimes when you're looking at that, it can throw off what you think is centered. So now I'm just going from here to here. I've got that top line. I'm gonna go ahead and try to just make sure it looks semi-lined up, edge to edge. And then we're gonna gently lay it down. Then we're gonna use our scraper tool and just burnish lightly. Because this is paper, the vinyl should stick really well, and I don't wanna run the risk of pushing the transfer taper down on it too much. So just burnish it and then slowly peel up from the corner. And I like to just kind of keep it flat against itself. See if I get, so you can see that I'm pulling the transfer tape and I'm keeping it pretty flat, and that just helps helps it release. And you can just, like, I had a little lifting there, so I just ran over it with my finger. And we're just gonna go nice and slow so that we don't rip off, hopefully, any of the orange on the folder itself. And there we go. Project number 1, done. Okay, now for project number 2, we are using this little faux leather little sketchbook, and we're gonna add this little art class decal to it. So I'm gonna actually trim this smaller. And we're actually gonna go ahead and put this back on. Just want it lined up where it's supposed to be here on the notebook. So then I'm gonna center this here in the area between. So we're gonna go ahead and grab a piece of strong grip transfer tape because I'm using the shimmer. And you need to use the purple grid strong grip when you're using shimmer. We used it with adhesive foil and glitter vinyls. All of those, I think any really of the metallic ones you want to use. And there we go. So now we can get this section stuck down. And again, I just really like to eyeball it. So I could go low, but I think I'm gonna try to just kind of center. I don't care if it's like exactly center, but because if I know anything about my daughter, she is just going to draw all over it as well. Okay. I feel like that looks really good. So now we're just gonna burnish it on here. There we go, here's step 1 for this. So for the next step, I'm gonna use the same piece of transfer tape that I used for our other project. And I'm just going to trim it. This is like the biggest piece of this design. So I'm gonna trim it down to fit that. And then we're going to try to pick up all of our pieces. And we'll see how that works with this piece. So this piece is starting to get a little worn between using it on that cardstock type folder and touching it to my pants first. Some of the stick is probably starting to wear out, but we can definitely give it a go. Okay, that worked beautifully. Oh, I might not have made this big enough now that I think about it. Okay, oops, because I forgot that. So this is what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to, I forgot that this is taller because it goes around. So we're going to have to line this up and then add some other transfer tape to it. So now our piece of transfer tape is big enough. Now it's a matter of, I think it goes this way. Trying to get these in the right spot as well. This vinyl is actually sticking very nicely to my transfer tape piece. Okay. You can see that my light pink color is very close to the color of the notebook. That is per my daughter's request. She liked that pink. So I'm actually gonna stick these ones down really well. turn that a little bit because I don't think they were exactly, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes when you're dealing with little pieces like that, you know, like if you have them lined up quite right. So just by doing it the way that I did, you now have them like, so it looks more like they go around the outside of that. But look how fun that is. Even though these pinks are close, I think it's a really cute, like, color on color. It matches the elastic well. It's a really fun, cute, really easy. This vinyl, I mean, I don't know what the difference was, but it was sticking beautifully to this surface and to the transfer tape. And then our other project, our Science Nerd folder, I think it's also super fun. I think they both turned out really well. So these are my tips for creating vinyl decals, and you can stick these to anything. You know, I stuck it to this faux leather notebook. I stuck it to this cardstock folder, but you could also, you know, stick them. You could use removable vinyl and create things that they can use to stick into their lockers. You can make them to, into little stickers that have their school logo on them. Just lots of different things that you can do for them. Okay, what do you think? Pretty fun, right? I really love how both of these turned out. I have a lot of fun creating vinyl decals with my Cricut machine. Today I used the Explorer Air 2. Like I said, you could do this project with any Cricut machine because it uses the fine point blade, and the fine point blade is available for all the different Cricut machines. So these images are in Design Space. I think this is a great way to help kids get kids a little bit excited about school. Let them pick out some vinyl colors and maybe the design that they want. So we have, again, the Science Nerd, which we added to this cardstock type material. I think that this is a great thing to learn how to do, that you can use vinyl, even using transfer tape on a cardstock material. So like if you're making cards or things like that, it cuts out the need for using an adhesive, and it sticks really well. So we made this one, used a few different colors, and then I showed you with this one how to, one, lessen the stickiness of your transfer tape. I guess I didn't really show you, I told you. Just you wanna stick it to something that's not really fibery. So you wouldn't wanna do like a sweater where it's gonna get a lot of lint and stuff onto the transfer tape, but by using like denim, I think that that's a great way to, stick it down. It takes just a little bit of the stick away and allows it to release the stickiness of the adhesive vinyl without the transfer tape tearing up the cover of the cardstock. So we did that. And then I showed you that you don't always have to use like multiple pieces of transfer tape in order to do a multi-layered or a multicolored project. These were simple, easy little pieces to just pick up and add to the project and before. So you can add it to your transfer tape, or you can add it to, so in this case, we had the Science Nerd thing cut, and then we added the stickers, these other vinyl pieces in the colors to that before we added the transfer tape. So if you forgot to do it, you could always have your transfer tape flipped over and then stick them down to that as well. That just removes the possibility of having your vinyl stick to other surfaces. And then we have our faux leather little journal, sketchbook. So this one I also think turned out really cute. I was really impressed with how well these permanent premium vinyls stuck to the surface and how well it stuck to the transfer tape. You did see me mess up. I cut my piece of transfer tape too small, but I also gave you like a little tip. You can just keep adding other little pieces of transfer tape, and it's a great way to reuse other pieces of transfer tape. Transfer tape is good as long as it's sticky. You want to get rid of it if it gets really dirty, or if you are having a problem with it picking up your vinyl, which obviously we didn't. It did a great job. I also taught you how to use the shimmer glitter vinyl and to make sure and use strong grip transfer tape for that. So I would not use strong grip transfer tape on a like something that was made of cardstock. I think that you run the risk really of that transfer tape tearing up your paper, but it worked really well on this. This is a little more durable, nothing really to like tear off. So I thought it was a great surface for adding that to. Another great place to add glitter vinyl to is things like I said, you could have them add them to lockers. Just be careful, make sure that your surface is something that is able to be that the vinyl that you're using can be removed from the surface if it's not your own place. So like this is a permanent shimmer vinyl. You wouldn't want to use this to stick into like a locker or something. You run the risk of when you remove it taking off the tape. Not the tape, good grief, taking off the paint. So I hope you had fun learning how to make vinyl decals with your Cricut machine today. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I hope I answered most of them, but I am always happy to answer any others that you come up with. Make sure and subscribe if you found this helpful. We'd love for you to join us again next week. And we have a whole lot of other videos here on our channel teaching you how to use your Cricut machine. If you ever have a project that you would like to see or a product that you would like to see more about, go ahead and leave that in the comments too, and we'll add it to our list of videos to make. You can also find us on social media. We are there as Creative Housewives, where we share all sorts of projects, including DIY recipes, things like that. And you can also find us at Cricut Inspiration, and that's where we share all of our Cricut projects, little tips and tricks, things like that. So we'd love to see you there as well. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.